Welcome to this Cyber Squad gaming video. Today we're going to address the rumors that Halo Infinite is potentially not coming to the Xbox One family, and how this could affect Microsoft's approach to cross-generation compatibility for its first-party games. So with me today I've got Thomas again. We're going to be talking this through. So this all started today when a rumor came around on Twitter and through the all rumor mill channels that the Halo was going to be cancelled, Halo Infinite that is going to be cancelled for the original Xbox. I don't believe it's true personally. I think Microsoft has made too much of a promise to kind of release this game across the generations, but it raises a lot of questions about Microsoft's strategy. So, do you think these rumors are true, Thomas? Do you think this is what we're going to get, a non-Halo Infinity?
I'm not one to follow the rabbit hole of rumors. Okay, when I hear it come through, I'm always just waiting to see what the official word is. But, and I say this was a big but. Apparently, this person has spread some rumors before that came out to be true. So there's always a chance that it is true, and if it is, it's a pretty big thing for what Microsoft said about backwards compatibility and for Halo Infinite going forward.
Yeah, he said something like the original Xbox was struggling to load assets, stream assets, the worlds were too big, struggling to get more than 900p resolution. So the obvious first showing that we got a month ago wasn't all that impressive, and I guess they're struggling. I'm not doubting that. I think that's why we got a delay. COVID wasn't the only reason here. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. But that brings into question: has Xbox Next Gen approach, about 1 year of all first parties being backwards compatible with the original Xbox, was that the right move in your opinion?
Uh, I like what they've tried to do. Put it that way. I like that they wanted to keep the Xbox family into the next gen streamlined and work across the platform. The issues I think they had, and I think I mentioned this before, is how the Xbox Series X they call a powerhouse. It's all this power, all this whatever, yet they're not doing the first next gen games for a couple of years past. Now, addressing back on what you were saying about the Halo Infinite on Xbox having 900p and stuff, I did read as well from the same rumor that Microsoft is happy to push back Halo Infinite if that's what's needed. And if the studio wants to make the best Halo game, they're backed by it, they got the money behind them, they got the fans behind them. They wouldn't be breaking that backwards compatibility promise if they push it back a year. So it would be an interesting twist, wouldn't it?
Yeah, push it back beyond a year to say fall 2021, and all of a sudden you don't need to be backwards compatible. I think personally, Microsoft's approach to backwards compatibility has been two things. It's not unusual to see Assassin's Creed or other games go cross-platform that were going to be at the end of a console cycle anyway. Hey, here's an upscaled 4K 60 version running natively with a bunch of better textures on the Series X. It is strange to me that that was a year long or longer. I think it would have been better, and we are seeing this with some third parties, just to say our flagship games, our best games, are going to be next generation only, but then we still could have bought some of the smaller games like Psychonauts, not so graphically intensive games, to both consoles, because Microsoft can't say we have the most powerful console and we're all this power and then turn around and say, but the games don't look quite as good. And I'm starting to believe that the original Xbox is holding the Series X back now. I'm not convinced by the PC argument anymore. How about you?
Yeah, it's old hardware. It's going to hold it back regardless. I mean, we chatted before about how you could have the whole, yeah, it's on this console at 720, it runs like this, but on the Series X, like you said, it's upscaled to 4K, it runs like 60 FPS, it's got increased textures, increased density of models, more effects and whatnot. But at the end of the day, whenever we've seen that before, it's never been something mind-blowing. It's never been like night and day of I can see where the power comes in, because they keep the experience the same. They don't want the experience that different between them. They want them to feel like you're getting the same game, not that you're being missing out by not having it on the better platform. And because they're doing this whole cross compatibility thing for generations, I'd say that thought is even more so pushed among developers. You need to keep this as close between the two as possible, while only adding like quality of life improvements like the 4K, like the 60 FPS, and not necessarily the light rays, the high, better shaders, the higher model pixel or model density and stuff for polygons and whatnot. I think that's the issue they might be having.
So this argument about PCs has been an interesting one, right? I mean, I recently upgraded my computer from something that I built in 2015, 2016 to something that's brand new today. And that was struggling to get games on medium graphics at that point. And when you think back to, say, 2013, when the original Xbox came out 7 years ago, Nvidia's graphics card at the time was a GTX 780, right? We were starting to rock the first quad cores. We're now looking at the Ampere 3000 series going, we're 4 generations on from that, right? I don't know many games that you can buy today, such as Flight Simulator, right, which they're calling the new crisis for PCs, plug in a 780 and go, this really works, right? And I think I agree. Some games do play back, some strategy games and whatever do play back with compatibility quite a long way. But the PC has never shied away from saying, this is Crysis, you can't run it. Or this is the definitive flight simulator, you can't run it. Total War Rome 2 was pretty intensive. You're going to need a bit of an upgrade. I think forcing a standard set from 7 years ago, it's a difficult sell on holding it back, right? And maybe I think they should have given the developers, both first and third party, the choice to say, hey, what would you like to do? Would you like to give up the original Xbox? And if you do, maybe you can make one of your other games compatible with it.
Yeah. So on this point, the way I see it is, it's not just about our hardware, like raw power for power, right? There's technology that has been invested in these cards and has progressed over time. Like, for example, the new in Unreal Engine 4.5, Unreal Engine 5, they haven't exactly said, oh yeah, you know, the new polygon stuff of loading on SSDs and stuff like that really fast in your system is backwards compatible in a way to a 2013 system. Like, everyone's looking forward at this point, and they have been for the last few years. So trying to go that far back with your compatibility is just going to hurt the game and its developers in itself. At the end of the day, I don't think any of the blame comes to the developers wanting to create the game they want to make going forward and making sure everyone can enjoy it. But some of these demands are pretty hefty.
Yeah, I mean, I think I look at it one way, that the Xbox showcase that we had for first party, there was one game there that to me stood out as, are we looking at pre-rendered graphics? This looks good. They're saying it's in-game. And that was Forza 8, right? The ray tracing in the garage, those cars going around the track, the 3D scan of the track, and the sort of the geometry that was provided to the curbs and things. I was like, this isn't real. This isn't right. And then everyone's like, this is in engine, this is whatever. And I went, if that's next gen, right, that's what's capable with a on-chip system like this, I want it. Now, they're going to get to push themselves off and do that, but yeah, it's an interesting topic. So I guess, long story short, maybe Microsoft should have gone down, hey, if you want to play on a cheap device, go get xCloud.
I mean, that might be where they push it, right? They're we don't know if they end up dropping Xbox One support past like the 2013 model and Xbox One S, and they might just say, if you're on Xbox Series X, you're good. No, not Series X, Xbox One X, you're good. And then prior to that, we, you know, on these specific games, we do xCloud, and they release a xCloud app for Xbox One and Xbox One S, which at that point, it's still technically cross-platform, right? They'd fix that generational gap unless they, you know, it really comes down to, are the fans going to be on either side of, but you said this and now you're twisting it to this, or is it okay to do that and everyone will be happy?
I'm going to come down and say, like, we're going to wrap this up, but do I believe, and you can answer this too, Microsoft did the right thing by making games backwards compatible across the board on the original Xbox? And I'm going to come down and say, no, they did wrong. I think they should have given the studios the choice of what to do, right? And maybe it shouldn't have been a one-size-fit-all. Halo Infinite, you're the flagship. You don't have to worry about it, right? Maybe we go and say Psychonauts, which is another game coming out. Yeah, you're not that graphically impressive. Let's be on both consoles, right? Forza, you're moving on. You know, you're going to challenge Gran Turismo. Throw you on. You can do whatever you want. Use all the power. And I think that should have been the approach. It should have been per game basis, per developer basis. How do we want to build the brand as we move forward? Because at the same time, it's coming to PC.
Fair enough. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but for me, I think, and I think this has been a while like this, okay? And this is coming from someone who I don't want to say I'm PlayStation focused and whatnot. I will be hearing both sides of the field at this point. But Microsoft has been very loud about what they want to achieve, what they're going to have for the last like several months, whether it's across compatibility, the most powerful console ever existed, all of it, right? The whole Netflix of gaming, like we chatted in the last video. And yet, it's great to set high expectations, but if you push it before you can do it, it's tough. And they got xCloud too. And let's just say it honestly, Game Pass is going to succeed. And they've already proven that's going to succeed, and they've got a great library lined up for the next gen. The whole forcing next gen to be the compatibility is going to be a mix between saying we have the most powerful console and limiting what they can actually do or what people can get. And then the xCloud has got to be tried and tested because the beta is just finished, I think, or is ongoing, or something along those lines. And PlayStation has stayed silent quite a long time until the last couple of months. And people have been very happy with PlayStation stuff without having a lot of the bells and whistles that Microsoft is trying to throw. So we're going to have a very interesting next few months to see where we get to Tokyo Game Show, what comes next out of this, and what things come out for the end of the year. But I do agree with you. I think they've done wrong at this point, but we'll see if it becomes a snowball effect into something worse, or if it's something they can cut and deal with quite quickly.
Yep, that sounds good. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning into this conversation that we had today on the Xbox and their first-party approach to gaming and the rumors of Halo being canceled for the original Xbox. We hope that you like this video, so help us out and give us a like, subscribe, and a share, and we appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.